Your environment has a massive impact on your life. It's crazy. Because at the end of the day, it's your environment that decides whether or not you stick to your diet. It's the environment that decides how you spend your time. It's your environment that determines whether or not you hit snooze on that alarm. And it's your environment that decides whether or not you work out. Because although we do all have willpower and dedication, it's not the most reliable resource, and some days we're just not as motivated as others. And that's when we fall to our habits and our environment around us. Which is why we have to control our environment so we fall onto good habits, instead of watching Netflix and spoon-feeding yourself ice cream like I did last night. I don't want to talk about it. Let me give you an example of just how much of an impact it can have. This is a very popular book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, but there's one story that really popped out to me that I just thought was super cool, and it's about this Hungarian man named Laszlo Polgar. Yeah, that's close enough. Anyways, big man Laszlo was like a big believer in hard work, and he didn't believe in talent at all, and he wanted to run an experiment on his children. So he eventually got a wife to jump on board, and him and his new wife Clara, who also believed that anyone under the proper instruction could achieve mastery, came together and started a family and decided to raise their kids playing chess. But this isn't like most parents just sending your kid off to play t-ball. They were not messing around. They started to dedicate their lives to chess. And within a few years, they had 3 daughters, Susan, Sophia, and Judith. The kids were homeschooled and their entire lives kind of revolved around chess. The house or the environment was filled with chess boards, filled with chess posters of famous chess players and chess books, just chessed out, chess everywhere. They also enrolled their kids into the best chess tournaments they could find, and the 3 siblings were constantly playing chess against each other, which created a culture that rewarded them for playing chess. Susan, the oldest, started playing chess when she was 4 years old, and within a couple months, she was already beating adults. By 14, she was a world champ. Judith, the youngest, was better than both of them. By 5 years old, she was able to beat her father. And I'm just guessing that Laszlo knew his stuff when it came to chess. By age 12, she cracked the top 100 chess players, and at 15 years old, she became the youngest grandmaster of all time. I think that's pretty cool. And the craziest part about it was they had to make them stop playing chess. It was always around them, and they ended up finding joy in chess. And it's like what they love to do. And it just shows the impact of your environment, and you can find joy in a lot of things if you just eliminate a lot of distractions. And then finding a way to replace it with your desired behavior. And one other way you can do this is with the sponsor of our video. AG1 is empowering people to take ownership of their health. And it solves 2 of the most important health needs: the nutrients your body needs and the foundation of long-term gut health. Together they fuel the whole body, impacting everything from sleep, digestion, energy, mood, immunity, to health of your hair, skin, nails. I like to drink AG1. I think it tastes good. It's like a health drink, except for it tastes a little bit better than a lot of the other ones. And it's packed with minerals that aid in recovery from busy days by balancing stress, promoting relaxation, and supporting sleep. AG1 also has little travel packets, which make it really easy to stay committed on your intentions wherever you are, whenever you need it. 8 ounces of water, a scoop, or a travel packet every day, and that's it. So it's a pretty easy daily habit. And you can go to athleticgreens.com/Colin Murray. To get started on your order, AG1 is going to give my community a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free travel packets with your first purchase. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. And you might not want to be a chess grandmaster. However, you can still use the environment to help you achieve your goals and help you improve. And there's obviously a ton of other factors, but when your environment encourages your desired behavior, you're gonna act on it more. So by setting up our environment, we can set ourselves up for success. And this is gonna start with our identity. The idea is to become an athlete, not to get a six-pack, or to become a writer, not write a book. By making a change to our identity and our self-image, we create habits that last long-term. That being said, when we're setting up our environment, we want to set it up with that in mind and use the space around us to reinforce the ideal version of ourselves that we're trying to become. And it's kind of inevitable that we fail and fall short of that, but by having an environment that's geared towards your ideal self, you'll end up finding yourself doing more activities that that ideal person would do. Therefore, who do you want to be? And then set your environment up with that in mind. For me personally, I want to be able to jump really high and also have like really cool body weight control and be really good at calisthenics. So I set my environment up with that in mind. Having open spaces so I can kick up into handstands, having parallettes and pull-up bars and resistance bands available at all times, and trying my best to keep processed foods out of my house, because if it's in my house, I just go crazy on it.
I mean, if they give me one right now, I'll tear it up live.
And the process is different for everybody, but it starts with eliminating the bad habits. And this is done by adding resistance to that action. Whether it's eliminating it completely, making it more difficult to get to, or making it less desirable. So what's a bad habit you have, and how can you make it more difficult or less satisfying? Eliminating these triggers, that's probably not the right word, is gonna stop you from indulging in unwanted behavior because they're not as easily available. Here's some examples to show you what I'm talking about. If you want to stop watching TV so much, put your TV in the closet. Now it's more difficult, you won't watch TV as much. If you want to work on your project but you're going on your phone too much, then you can take your phone, throw it under a couch. Now you've increased the difficulty to pick up your phone, and now you can get more focused work done. If you're going on social media too much, you can always log out of your accounts, or you can use the screen time settings to block certain websites. Just adding those few extra clicks is going to stop you from mindlessly consuming as much as you already do. If you're a soda drinker, I would say stop drinking soda, but if you still want to drink it, you can take it out of your fridge and put it in a bottom cabinet. It's not in your sight as much, and it's also not going to taste as good, so you're going to drink less soda. Or just eliminate it completely. And honestly, this is so helpful for your diet and the foods that you're eating, because at the end of the day, when you have a craving, you're gonna fall to what's around you. It's like one of those charcuterie boards. I mean, have you ever not eaten from a charcuterie board that's in front of you? I think we both know the answer is no. You might not even want it, but just because it's there, you're gonna eat it. So what you have in your cabinets is what you're gonna fall to, and that's why you wanna eliminate as much bad foods from your household. So when you do break your diet or you get cravings, you fall onto better options, instead of an unhealthy amount of granola bars. And after you're eliminating these things that you keep falling back to, then it's time to try and replace them with good habits. Habits that your ideal self would do, and ones that are gonna bring you closer to the person you wanna be. And the idea is to make these good habits as easy and as available as possible. And doing this also makes a surprising difference. They did this one study led by Ann Thorndike, a primary care physician in Massachusetts. And they wanted to see if they could change the eating habits of the hospitals simply by rearranging the environment. Anyways, long story short, they decided to make water super available, putting it in all different types of places, and then making soda less available and less obvious. And the results were astounding. People drank more water. Not because of willpower or because they wanted to, just because it was more available and soda wasn't as obvious. They drank more water because of the space around them. And you can use this too. Like if you wanted to be someone who reads, then you'd put a lot of books out in obvious places, and since the bad habits are put away, you'd be bound to pick one up eventually. But by placing things out to help our environment and promote behaviors that we want, we can really help ourselves out. For example, you can take those Oreos that you took out of your apartment and replace them with apples. That might be a big step though, so if you still want something to dip in milk, I'd say switch to graham crackers. That's what I did when I was trying to get off the O's. I started by switching to Oreos and water, and then I switched to graham crackers and milk, and then I switched to graham crackers and water, and by that point I didn't even want them anymore. Or you can just cold turkey, cut it out of there, and replace it with a more beneficial food. That's gonna help you improve. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can't drink soda or you can't eat those foods that you really like. Feel free to eat them still. However, don't keep it in the house and don't buy big portion sizes. And use the space around you to your advantage. We also want to use the same space to automate our good habits. Like if you wanted to work out more, you'd have your shoes and your outfit all laid out the day before. That way, when you wake up, you just gotta put your shoes on, get ready, and get out the door. Because once you're in the gym, it's okay. It's just that transition period, and we want to make that as smooth and as effortless as possible. Because the more extra things you have to do, the less likely you are to follow through. And the place where most people get caught up is in that should I or shouldn't I phase. But if we can just get to the gym, everything's gonna be all right. There's a ton of ways to do this, and it depends on the habit that you're trying to implement. Although the point is to just make it smooth and make it easy. You can also make one-time purchases to lock in that desired behavior. For instance, if you wanted to improve your sleep, you could buy blackout curtains, a better mattress, a lava lamp. I don't know, I'm not a sleep expert, just whatever makes you sleep good. Just bring things around you that are gonna encourage you to improve. And since we basically become our habits, I personally believe one thing that you should have around you that could really help out is a habit tracker. I personally just use a whiteboard, and there's a ton of different methods you can use. I like to do this one because I'm always rearranging it, which I'm doing right now because while making this video, I realized I was doing a ton of stuff wrong. So it's fun because it's always like a continuous improvement, and there's always something you can do better just to improve your system. And the key here is to make them small, drive to the gym, not get a 5-hour workout in. And if you want to try and keep your day productive, you can stack habits. So have one good habit go into another good habit, into another good habit. This way you allow yourself to keep the momentum going and have a better day. It gives you a little sense of accomplishment every time you do a habit, and it allows you to track your progress and continue to grow. And a lot of people can't control their environment because they got roommates or parents or whatever the case may be. However, you can always have a habit tracker, and having a habit tracker or your goals on the wall or something to look at every single day is another way you can use the space around you to help you stay on track and continue to be motivated. And it's not about doing everything perfect. That's just unrealistic, and you'll just be picking yourself apart, and it'll have more negative effects than good effects. It's really just having a target to shoot for. And through having that target and knowing how you can improve, you're gonna get better at whatever your goal might be. And it's totally cool to mess up. You just want to have that target. That way you can always come back and start making progress again. And for me, that's what setting up my space and tracking my habits is all about. It's all about helping me work when I don't feel like it and helping me try again when I fall. And that's why I think being aware of your environment and the system that you have is going to help you with. If you have any tips that have helped you, please share them down below. But thanks for watching. Have a great day.